The best advice I can give anyone that wants to pursue entrepreneurship is that you should literally just start. Just do it. And I'll give you a backstory. So I studied YDM, Young Decision Makers, which we try to solve problems regarding young leadership and try to empower young leaders to become more valuable and sought after on the market. And this is a pitch that we created, like, it took us 2 years, but not 2 years of hard work. Actually, it was on a scale of 1 to 10, we put in like 1 or 2, like 20%, 10 through 20% of our time and effort into this. And this was during my university years, and Victor as well, my co-founder. We did this together, and he was working full time. He was doing other projects. I was doing other projects as well, and I also studied at the same time in university. So during my last 2 years, we started this, and it wasn't until after I had graduated and I just grinded for 5 or 6 months. Yeah, 5 months, let's say. I just grinded fully, and I put so much time and effort into this. But the thing that I learned is that we had done everything wrong, literally everything wrong, and we didn't notice this until after 1.5 years. I'm serious. So the last 5 months we put so much time into really do it the lean and right way. So we started running ads. We started making proof of concept, MVPs, and minimal viable product. And then we tried to hit the market, and we did interviews, we called people, I tried to sell. So I did all of these things that I could have done while in university, but we got from the back foot. Like we did wrong. But also the other reason, as I said, is that we didn't put that much time and effort into it. So what we had already achieved throughout this 1.5 years before changing the last half year, so 2 months, 1.5 years, okay? So what we had achieved is that we had built a great community with people that wanted to share knowledge and empower leaders as well. They wanted to become entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs themselves. But what happened is that we changed, we just completely changed. As I said, we flipped it, and we did it the right way. And the right way was a lean startup approach. If you watched or videos about that, heard about it, read books, whatever, the lean startup approach is basically that you run ads basically, and you try to gather as much information and confirmation from the audience that you're trying to sell to, the buyers. You're trying to get proof of concept as soon as possible. And then you can also find this approach in the 4-Hour Workweek, the book. But basically what you do is that you run ads and you try to drive traffic into a fake website, basically, or a website that doesn't have any. You don't finalize the product until you actually know that people are ready to pay for it. And that's what we try to do then in the last half year of the run. And which we did. So we ran ads, and we interviewed people, we called people, and did all the things that we should have done earlier. But the thing is that we didn't learn, and I didn't learn until we had done it, right? We had to make these mistakes. And it's so incredibly important, and I'm going to tell you this, that I read a lot of books. I listened to podcasts. I talked to people. I had content that I consumed about how to do this and that. But no one will truly give you better advice than you when you're older. Now that's the paradox, because you can't travel in time, which means that you need the experience. And you need to hit these walls, maybe not the walls, but you need to encounter these problems as soon as possible so you can solve them throughout the way. That's the thing. That's why you should start your business now. Because also what happened now is because now I'm in Orbodor, right? And what we do is IT solutions. Basically, we provide services with annotation for companies that build their algorithms. So if you have an AI, you need to train that algorithm with quality data sets. So we build offshore teams that provides the annotation and does that annotation for them. Cost effective, very good, dedicated teams. Love it. So you see, that's the pitch, you know? And I wouldn't be able to make that pitch as quickly as I did now if it wasn't for I had done this with YDM. I'm 100% serious. So I spent so much time like grinding, even though I grinded the wrong way at some times, the wrong direction. I learned so much, so I changed. I just changed direction to the right, what I perceive was right. And I learned so much. So even though I didn't make money, I learned literally so much. And this is another reason why I also think that, especially if you're young, as I am, I'm 23 turning 24 soon. I started I think I started, 2 years back, 21. But I also started before that as well, started consulting. So 20? Doesn't matter. What matters is that you should do it as soon as possible, while you have time. It doesn't matter if you're 50 years old. I've heard about the KFC story, Colonel Sanders, whatever. He started when he was 50, 60 something, and then he made KFC, and you all probably know about KFC. But that's not what I would talk about. It's the experience, because the more you procrastinate and you push forward what you're gonna do, say you want to start a company. Start a company now. Do it. And when I say start a company, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to hire people, that you have to create a LLC, that you have to create a legal entity and therefore register it to your government or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that you should try to make proof of concept. You should try to sell as easy and sell as soon as possible, because then you will understand how difficult or how easy this is, and then you will get feedback from the market. So start your business is when you start selling, in my opinion. That's because, young decision makers had no legal company during these 2 years. It was connected to my LLC, aktiebolag in Swedish, the last half year when we started running ads and stuff. But you can still run ads, just pay through your own pocket. And the thing is, it will probably cost money. It will drain your wallet for a little while. That's why you need to have a buffer. That's why you should have some source of income. You should not just drop everything to start your own company. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you should have your source of income and have your job, or however you do it. And maybe you've saved up, as I did. I saved up, but I also had my studies at the same time. And then you try to in parallel do these things, because you will understand so much from the experience that you get. You will encounter so many problems that you will probably encounter. So say if you push it forward like 5 years, you will encounter those problems in 5 years. But in my opinion, you should encounter those problems as quickly as possible, fail as quickly as possible. I think there's actually a book about that. I haven't read it, but I think I've heard about it. Fail as fast as possible. When you fail as fast as possible, you can solve those problems as fast as possible, right? Because you don't want to push the problem further into the future. You want to solve that right now, if you can. Therefore, you have to encounter the problem now. But you won't encounter these problems if you don't start a business now. And that's why I think you should start your business now. Don't wait. Now. Don't wait. Now. I'm serious. Start a business now. So another thing that I learned is also with partnerships and people that you start with. The same thing as there. Just try to do something like group project. If you're in university or if you're working right now and you have colleagues, how does it work right now with you working together with them? Like, try to, as soon as possible, understand, because as I said, you want to encounter the problems as soon as possible. And this includes not only like trying to sell towards the market and produce and deliver and all those, and generate content and create the legal entity of LLC and all that. Also with the people that you're working with, do it as soon as possible to try and understand how you work with them. Do you function? Does it even work? Do you have a good collaboration? Do you not have? Because that's super vital important. You want to know that as soon as possible if it works or not. Now, the tricky thing is that it's always different when you start your own company. In my opinion, this is my opinion, right? It's different when you start your own company and you have so much uncertainty involved, and in comparison to if you would start with a group project in university, or just a little side hustle hobby, or when you work together with a colleague and then you would drop off and start a business together. Now, I think that the best thing you could do is actually do it yourself completely. So I don't take this as hard advice, but try to separate your friends from business. Now, I've heard this before and I wanted to try it actually. I got this advice that you should never start business with your friends and family. The reason why is plenty, but in short is that you'll have difficulties maintaining a professional relationship in comparison if someone you don't really know and you start a business. And I'm not saying you should start a business with a complete stranger. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it would be better if you do it with an associate. And then the best thing is if you start your business completely on yourself, for real. I'm serious. Start a business and try to outsource things because there's plenty of virtual assistants, and you can do the 4-hour work week but without working 4 hours, but like automate as much as possible, and outsource as much as possible, and delegate as much as possible. But start your own business by yourself. That's the best thing. And depending on what competence you need, right, and what experience and skills. But that's the best thing I can from the top of my head just say right now, is start your own business by yourself. Then you can bring in people, but you will have understood also while doing this by yourself what kind of people you need, what kind of skills you need. So start as soon as possible, because you will encounter problems, you will encounter things, and as soon as possible encounter those problems. Therefore, don't push it, don't procrastinate it, because you will just that's what procrastination is, right? You have a task that needs to be performed, you have a problem that needs to be solved, you push it into the future. That can compound, the problem can compound. The same would be with a partnership. Say, for example, you start a business with a friend and it doesn't work, or a family member, it doesn't work. But you push it. You don't say, okay, let's just pull the bandage off real quick, the plaster. If you don't do it, you'll have a long, and you'll pick a lot, the same amount of hair will follow. Maybe you'll even have more hair that follows when you pull this plaster off by just doing it slowly, rather than if you would just do it quickly. Because maybe the stickiness doesn't pick up. You understand what I'm saying, right? Do it as quickly as possible. Encounter those problems. Solve them. Do not procrastinate. Do not push it. Do it at the same time if you have already a steady source of income or some stability in your life. And for real, there's never gonna be a perfect opportunity for you to start a business. And that is completely true. I've heard many people say it, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. The reason why is because life is like this. And you will, I can't see how you would be able to predict when things are gonna happen, because life happens. There's so many things that are out of your control. What you should do is be in peace with the outside world and your inside world. And therefore, don't procrastinate it, because you do not know what will happen tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. The further away, the bigger and compounded the problem will be. And the less time you will have to actually solve those potential problems. Imagine a problem that would take 3 years. Okay, I don't know what that would be, but let's say you have a problem that would take 3 years. Do you want to push it and then take care of it? Maybe it becomes a bit larger problem. Or you do it now, because those 3 years will have to be done. But maybe you can shorten. Maybe it becomes 2 or 1 year if you do it as soon as possible, right? So as soon as possible, start your business, because you're gonna encounter problems, and try to do it yourself. And bringing in partners, as in friends and family and associates, do it if you want to. Wouldn't 100% recommend it, because you're two different people, and it's another dynamic when you start a company with someone. Because there's so much uncertainty involved, and that uncertainty can split you, and it can make you argue, and can make you so frustrated, and make that person frustrated on you. You have to think about that one as well. So limit the variables that would lead to your failure, and by limiting the options for failure, you actually increase the likelihood of your success, right? The less variables, the more you can control. The more control you have, the better. The more likely and higher likelihood that you succeed. So with that said, if you like this video, like it. And if you have any topics you want me to address, just comment them. If you have any questions, I would happily answer them. Now, I'm on this journey right now that I've started working at this company. It sounds like I'm employed. Why do I say that? I've joined this company as head of business development, and I'm a partner here, and I'm the person responsible for the growth, for the marketing, for the sales, for the customer service, basically everything involved, except for the deliverance of the product. That's me. That's what I'm responsible for. So being a head of business development has a lot of perks, but it has a lot of responsibilities, and I want to share these thoughts that I have and combine it with leadership, entrepreneurship, and martial arts, because I'm a martial artist as well. So combined with this, you will always find a trace of martial arts in everything I say. It might be discipline, it might be philosophy, and I touched upon it a little bit with being in peace with yourself, because there's so many variables that you cannot do anything about outside. That's also stoicism, but that's mostly actually my philosophy from karate. But having that said, if you have any topics that you want me to address, just comment down in the section, in the comment section. Like, subscribe, and comment, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.